Friday the 12th of September reflections. So we started off with a tutorial, then we went on to circuit training. Unfortunately, my knee was still really hurting, so I walked around and helped Matt with people's like form in like push-ups and like plank, make sure their bums were not in the air, help with crunches, make sure feet if people needed help, and help them power through it. Then after that, we played some improv games. So we played Catch This. So someone might say, Maddie, I'm holding a rabbit, catch this. And then I had to grab it and act like I'm holding a rabbit, but then change it. So I might then change it into a snake. So I've got to move my hands how I think a snake would be in my hand and then throw that to someone. I really like this one because it makes you think, oh, how would I catch a rabbit? And how would I hold a rabbit? And then, oh, what am I going to change it to? Oh, I'm going to change it to a snake. How would I hold a snake? Would it be wriggling around? That kind of thing. After that, we then played What Are You Doing? So that's where someone goes into the middle. They could be digging a grave, and then you stand up and go, what are you doing? And then they say, I'm shopping in a supermarket. So then you have to go shop in a supermarket. Someone then might stand up and go, what are you doing? And then you can say, like, I'm dancing in the ballet, that kind of thing. Then we played one at a time scene building. So this is where we're in a circle, one person will move and go into a position, and then someone else will move, but you cannot move at the same time as someone else. This is really like tricky sometimes because you kind of got to watch everyone, but you also might want to go in, so you got to keep your focus. That flowed into when we went into point of concentration. So you have to focus on the activity. So what we did was we tied knots in a rope. Then after that, we then got into pair or threes. I was working with Tom, and I had to be like, you tying a rope. And then he'd be like, I'm tying a rope. But if I'm also tying a rope, he could be like, you're tying a rope. You're tying knots in a rope. You moved your head. But I found that really difficult because my point of concentration was to tie knots in the rope, but then I also had to think about watching Tom and what he was doing, so it was like confusing at some points. We then developed a scene where we were eating food, and your point of conversation was eating the food, but sometimes you don't just eat your food, like someone will say something, so then you had to think, oh, but my point of concentration is my food. So I do find it really difficult because I feel like I don't actually talk much while I'm eating. Like if I was going to talk, I'd stop eating, but because our point of concentration was the food, it was more difficult to then talk and eat. After this, we then learn a bit of combat, since in Shakespeare, like as in our Shakespeare pieces, there's in a few of them, like Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, there's fight scenes. So we were learning basic combat with little spongy things, just so we could then go on to the swords, but to make sure we were all safe with doing it. I found this really fun as it's something I've not done yet or gone into yet. So I found it really fun to just practice some basic moves, even though it wasn't with a sword, it was with a piece of foam, but it just was really good to do that sort of stuff. After lunch, we then played a bomb and shield, so we have to pick one person to be our shield, one person to be our bomb. They don't know that they're our bomb and shield, so it's a game of like concentration in the sense like, where's my shield going? But I can't go over there because my bomb's there, so you have to make sure there's at least your shield in between you. I really like this game and it gets you nice and warm. We then played a simple game. It was one person wants to sit down, one person wants to stand, wants you to go somewhere. So I was the person that wants to sit down, and you have, like, Neve was my partner, so you have to try get that person to stand up by using different methods. So Neve first tried by saying, Maddie, can you stand up, please? And I was, can you come with me, please? And I was like, no, I don't want to. So then you have to try a different way. In the end, she literally picked me up and took me somewhere. That's the method that works for us, because that's how she got me away from sitting down. This is good because it actually creates a scene and kind of a drama in a sense, which it works for Shakespeare, because one person's wanted to do one thing, one person's wanted to do another, so they're clashing because they want to do different things. We then spoke about the actions for Mercutio, Benvolio and Tybalt, so kind of like what they wanted in the scene. So the scene we were doing was the fight scene between Mercutio and Tybalt. So we had to put stuff like Mercutio is like kind of mocks. Benvolio like wants to calm down the situation, and Tybalt like is ordering for a fight in a sense. And that was the end of the day.